Hello again, people. It's just before 5 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, the 18th of March, and once again, light sleeper, rolled over and thought I'll have a look and see whether there's any opportunities. And this euro dollar, which I rarely trade, was the most glaring of the few pairs that I looked at, and the reason being, on the daily chart, we could clearly see a massive down move on the daily. It had started to turn green, the candle, which is pullback, visual pullback. Obviously, can't think of the word, I'm half asleep. Basically, the daily was pulling back, as you can see, so you do not want to be trading against that if you get the right signals. So drew on the H4 levels. I've cleaned all the other rubbish off my charts for the time being so that you can see a bit clearer, you know, the sweet spot gold Indy and the SS support and resistance Indy. So we can clearly see at the start of this 4-hour chart, you've got low, high, higher, low. There's a red candle hiding there, and we were a very strong 4-hour candle. Turned green here, was green or is green currently, so I do not want to be trading this short. Now we get down to the H1. What we'd had is, you know how like my candlestick trends, we'd had a break of this candle high here with the close on the H1 chart here. You can, hopefully you can see the levels I'm talking about. Let's just highlight that line there. So that's an H1 break and close of this H1 high here. High, low, lower, high, lower, low. So we'd pulled back against the H1, and when I opened my charts, everything was positive to the long side. Excuse me. This was turning green as well, but you could clearly see this was rising. So M30 was good to go. 2 M30 greens and green on my entry, same with my Indy. M15 was the real kicker. Oh, an M30, I think, hang on. M30 had just closed above high, low, lower, high, lower, low, just closed through the M30 high there. Or in fact, no, it hadn't, it just broken through. But you can clearly see it was bullish. It's a sort of a benign grinding time of the market, and we were green on the hourly 8 MA. We'd had a pullback on this 15-minute chart here. We'd turned green, and this was the important one. When I entered, we had broken through the 20 level, and we'd turned from red to green, pull back to continuation, and I had a target above me, an old H1 high. And what do I always say about price? It has to break, test and break levels above or below it in order for us to consider continuation. And as such, these make good targets. You've got the daily pivot above us as well, and then you've got this support level, an H4 low, which was drawn over here. And again, Control Y, get rid of that. Again, what do I say about extremes of support that have been broken, the most recent ones? So this one would have been the level I would have drawn on had it been lower than that one, but this one was lower. So any of this anything that's on this downswing support is begging to be retested, and you know how much I like that as a potential target. So if you are watching this video after the event, then find this and see whether it has actually tested, just to prove to yourself. It hasn't tested yet. My target, as I said, was the H1 high, and then it tends to follow through. Tests and retests, guys. That's another sort of mantra you can use. When price is broken, how will they know? And this is a fair value analogy on market profile. You know, I've studied everything, guys. Fibonacci's, you name it. I've studied it. Elliott wave and all sorts. So you know, I've seen this happen so many times. I expect it to go and test that. As I say, fair value, market profile. How will we know whether that level there is a valid level? Let's say, for example, you're trading gold and 2000 has been broken to the downside. How will we know? But it's been used as support many times. How will we know whether that is fair value unless it comes back and tests that 2000? That's how I keep that in my mind. So another little sort of snippet of stuff that goes on in my head when I trade these things. What I did was close this early because it was starting to turn red, and that's important as well. As you know, I don't really trade euro. I'm not massively familiar with the way it moves. I'm certainly not massively familiar with trading in the middle of the night. So it went up to 9 pips, then dropped back to about 5.5, and I thought, I'm not going to, you know, don't be stubborn, guys. I was doing something else, came back to the trade, and reading the news sites actually, see how coronavirus is getting on. It hadn't hit my target. As you know, I like to be in and out of my trades quickly, so I closed this. It looks like now, look, we've gone above the 20 on this 15-minute chart. Looks very, very likely now this will continue up. I'll pause this, go and make a cup of coffee, come back and see whether it's done what I hoped it would do. We are now, it's just turned 5 o'clock, so we've turned over the hour. Also, remember, I like to be in and out of my trades before that turning point, those hourly, because you quite often get reversals. More often than not, and this isn't statistically analysed, more often than not I notice it drops back on the hour, but occasionally, surprisingly, or it will surprise you and it will continue. This one does look like it will continue, and everything on this analysis suggests that it will continue to that target. It just didn't get there as fast as I wanted it to. So I will pause this, go and make a cup of coffee, and hopefully it will have hit my target, and I will be proved right and wrong. Wrong for getting out of my trade too early, right because my original analysis was correct. So excuse me, I'm back, guys, and as you can see, that was the H1 high that I was targeting, and you can see it used it to the pip, just bust through it slightly on this 5-minute chart, created a wick, came back down and tested it, and it looks like it may now continue up to that pivot, and more importantly the H4 low. But I'm not going to hang about with this particular video anymore, because I did in fact take a GJ short while I was waiting for this to do its stuff, and I'll create a separate video for that one. Okay, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful March the 18th Wednesday.